Well, blessings, everybody. This is Dale. Thank you so much for joining with me again on the Word Podcast. As in yesterday, I'm in a different location today, so I may sound a little weird. I'm actually in a very cool room, a very cozy room, so I'm hoping the audio dynamics will be a little better right here. But we're continuing to press on in the book of Proverbs, and we're up to Proverbs chapter 27, so we're close to the end of it. It's 31 chapters in Proverbs. And by now, we have all seen why there is such value in reading the Proverbs repeatedly and often. You know, often people will read a proverb a day. Like today is the sixth day of the month. And so they would read Proverbs 6 today. And that is that's probably a good habit to have, okay? But today, Proverbs 27, verse 1 says this: "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring." And we have been seeing all these just phenomenal instructions that were given by Father, that were given by the Lord to us, just these pithy things by which we would do quite well to live. So don't boast about tomorrow, okay? To praise or to act arrogantly is the idea behind it. You know, it's actually a presumptive thing, because we're presuming and we're assuming that there will be a tomorrow. Truth be said, we do not know if there's going to be another breath. Correct? We simply do not know. So don't boast about tomorrow. Now, there's nothing wrong with planning for tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with anticipating tomorrow. But that whole idea of boasting, okay? And it's interesting because the word literally means, it's translated a bunch of ways. And the Hebrew word is halal. That's where we get hallelujah, you know? I'll just give you some of the definitions. How's that? It means to praise, renown, be boastful, to boast, to act insanely, madness, make a fool. In other words, there's exuberance here about some things. So don't boast about tomorrow in that way when we don't even know that what the day may bring. You don't even know if the day will come to start with, much less what it might bring. Verse 2, "Let another praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips." Now, this is interesting, because this "let another praise you," okay, praise you, is the same Hebrew word as we just saw, boast. Same word, halal. So let another halal you, praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips. And we've seen that as we're going through the Proverbs, and that's really struck me this time in going through these Proverbs, of how quite often there's a play of the idea in the previous verse. Do not boast about tomorrow, let another praise you, and that boast and praise be in the same word. Okay? So don't boast about tomorrow. You don't know what it's going to bring. Let somebody else praise you, and not your own mouth. You know, let a stranger praise you, and not your own lips. It's dealing again with the boasting. Verse 3, "A stone is heavy, and sand is weighty, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both." I know, I probably should. I find myself chuckling at some of these things because they are profoundly serious and insightful and so needed for today. And all I can just do is just chuckle. So what's the proverb saying? Yeah, a stone is heavy and sand is weighty. If you don't know what that's about, pick up a big bag of sand and see. It's very heavy. But a fool's provocation is heavier than both of them. When a fool provokes us, the word is kas, and it literally means a vexation. When somebody vexes you, you thought that was an old Appalachian term. It actually is, but it comes from the Old English, okay? If somebody vexes you or angers you, a fool's vexation is heavier than a stone and sand. Verse 4, "Wrath is cruel. Anger is overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy?" Whew, do we not know that? Okay? And he's acknowledging that what? Wrath is fierce or cruel. It's translated both ways in the various English translations. And anger, the ESV says, is overwhelming. That's good. Other translations say it's like a flood. Well, what is a flood by definition? Overwhelming amounts of water that cannot be contained in the normal sense. Anger is like that. Wrath is like that. But who can stand before jealousy? All the contemporary versions translate it as jealousy. King Jimmy translates it as envy. Envy. And the word actually means jealousy and zeal and ardor. Ardor, admiration, love. Okay? And so who can stand before this type of zeal and this jealousy? And the idea being that no one can. Verse 5, better is open rebuke than hidden love. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. King James says open rebuke is better than secret love. The idea being that an open rebuke is love. Listen to Berea. Better an open rebuke than love that is concealed. You may love somebody, and you're concealing it, and they need the open rebuke. They need to be rebuked, but you're not rebuking them, and you're keeping it to yourself. And he said it's better to have the open rebuke. Well, what's a rebuke? A reproof, an argument, okay, a reproving of something, a correction of something. Then verse 6, probably one of the most famous proverbs of all of them, Proverbs 27:6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy. Okay. The Lexham says the wounds of a friend mean well, but the kisses of an enemy are profane. And that profane, it actually means deceitful, just like what we see in other translation. ESV says profuse are the kisses. All the rest of them say that they are deceitful. So what's the principle here? The principle is the friend is going to tell you the truth. Okay? The friend is going to love you and is going to say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done, even if it wounds. That bruising, that wounding, which is how it's translated, is faithful because they love you. But the enemy, he's going to be deceitful. Okay? He's going to be deceitful. And he's going to deceive you with an abundance, a profuse amount of kisses. The New American Standard says, deceitful are the kisses. ESV, profuse are the kisses. Let me see what the King James says. Deceitful there. That word deceitful is interesting because it means to be abundant, to multiply, to be plentiful. But it carries here the negative connotation of the kisses. Now, verse 7. One who is full loathes honey, but the one who is hungry, everything bitter is sweet. Well, we know that is true. A man who is full, who is satiated, as the New American Standard says, if he's full of honey, okay, he's going to be full of it. Then he's full and he's satisfied. But someone who is hungry, who is famished, even the bitter things taste sweet because he's what? He's hungry. He's ravenous with hunger. And that bitterness literally is sweet because of the drive of the hunger. Well, anyway, we'll stop right here and press on the next episode. Remember this, folks. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Again, I'm Dale. I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye.